this video, we're actually going to be wrapping up the Try Hack Me pre-security pathway. And we're actually on part 3 of the Windows Fundamentals series. And so this is actually going to wrap it all up. After this, you will, if you've been walking through the entire playlist, you will have learned all about networking, security, Linux, and more. And you'll be very much ready to dive into the world of security. So like I've said on the previous couple videos, be sure to walk through on Try Hack Me. There are some cool checks on learning and interactive things that you can do to continue to learn as we're walking through this content. And that'll be a great way to learn along the way. So let's jump into Windows updates, a very important factor with Windows security. Some of you may be familiar with the term Patch Tuesday, and that is a great way to make sure that you are standardizing when and how often you are patching your systems. And you can do that in Windows Update. Now, Microsoft regularly releases updates, and so you can actually automatically install those updates, but in large environments where different updates might bring configuration problems to your environment, it might not be a good idea to have automatic updates on. But for personal use, just, set it and forget it. Make sure that your machine is running and you'll be good to go. But you can check that out in the settings, and then you'll see updates, and then you'll see update and security. I like that they pair those together. You can check for updates, but it will tell you if there are no updates available, which is what you want to see. If there is an update there, install that update. Install that right now. And along with updates, let's talk about security. Now, by default, you will have Windows security and its own kind of built-in security system, but you can also install third-party apps like McAfee and other kinds of apps. And those will integrate pretty well, but you won't necessarily be worse off if you're also just using the standard Windows security as well. Here you get, kind of all the things you like to see. You get virus and threat protection, a firewall, app and browser control, and device security. It's not bad. You can also customize which one of those you want turned on and off. I obviously would recommend turning all of them on, but sometimes people turn things off, and that's how attackers get in. So let that be a lesson. But let's dive into virus and threat protection. You can run virus scans from here, so that's pretty cool. You can run quick and full scans. Really, that just means that quick will run the commonly used and important folders, and full will run every single folder on your machine. And basically what that's looking for is it's looking for threat signatures, or basically unique bits of code or identifiers to malware that have been shared amongst the world pretty much by security researchers. And that will tip your computer off to the presence of certain malware. Now, know that that isn't perfect. On things called 0 days, which are 0-day vulnerabilities, meaning they're very new, they're brand new, there may not yet be signatures that have been shared for those, especially if it is, extremely new. Usually signatures are released pretty quickly, but again, just know if it's a novel kind of malware, it may not get picked up on a scan. But this will not only scan whenever you tell it to, it might scan on regular intervals, it might scan folders that you're installing onto your system. It's a good idea to leave this turned on. Next, you have firewall and network protection, and by this point you should know what a firewall is, but if you don't, the firewall basically filters network connections and other kinds of things. But we did cover that already in this playlist, so if you aren't familiar, just go through the Try Hack Me pre-security playlist on my channel, and I'll link you to it actually at the end of this video. But you get one on here, so that's pretty rad. You can also customize the firewall and make sure that you can have an allow list and a block list. That's not bad. Next, let's go to app and browser control. And this will basically allow, Windows security to be able to check for files that might be installed or links that might be available to click on in different apps and your browser. And that will basically keep you secure while you're browsing online. If there's a link or file that they believe to be malicious or suspect, they will warn you before you actually click on it, or right after you click it and before you are actually connected to the destination. Another good thing to keep enabled. Next, you have device security, and this basically shows how your device itself is maintained. And as they mentioned here on Try Hack Me, you're probably not going to either need to or want to change a lot of these settings, but we'll cover it. You get core isolation, which is good for virtualization. You get security for your processor, and you can also get some information on your processor. Next, BitLocker, and this is also very, very important, and that will encrypt your file system anytime you are not using your computer. So say your computer gets stolen, the attacker will not be able to access any of the sensitive files or folders or anything on your machine because everything is encrypted. And you will basically input a BitLocker pin or a passcode or passphrase preferably whenever you're logging onto your machine, and that will decrypt the BitLocker drive for your account, and then you can access your machine. This is a great little layer of security that you absolutely should have turned on. Next, you get the volume shadow copy service, and this can be a great way to get snapshots of your machine. So in case something gets corrupted, you can restore back to a shadow copy. So this will basically specify, when you want to create, your restoration image, when, you can perform that restoration, you can configure how you want the restoration to occur. And you can also delete the images themselves if they're starting to get too bulky on your machine. It's a great little added layer of security for your system that you probably might want to have. And with all that, that is the end of Windows, and that is the end of the pre-security pathway. So if this playlist has been helpful, let me know down in the comments below. If you are interested in learning more about cybersecurity, there's a Cybersecurity 101 playlist up top. Definitely dive into that, because now I think that you are prepared for a lot of those concepts. Those build on what we talked about in this playlist. And if there's anything that we talked about in this video, such as firewalls, that maybe you're not familiar with, either check that out or check out the rest of the pre-security pathway and work your way through it. This will be a great way for you to learn and practice if you're practicing on Try Hack Me as well. And like and comment because you like me, right? Have a good one.